Welcome back to She Rises Daily, Emerging You in 10. I'm your host, Doc Shelley, here to bring you your daily dose of inspiration, empowerment, and growth. Have you ever been given advice that sounded absolutely right, but somehow didn't feel right? Maybe someone told you, follow your passion, or fake it until you make it, or never let them see you struggle, or trust your gut. None of those are necessarily poor ideas. None of them are universally true either, because every piece of advice comes from someone else's experiences, someone else's personality, someone else's values, someone else's season of life. Today, I want to talk about something I think we don't discuss nearly enough. Good advice isn't always good advice for you, and learning the difference is one of the greatest acts of wisdom. Wisdom begins when you stop collecting and start filtering. Many of us have become collectors. We collect books, we collect podcasts and articles and leadership quotes and morning routines and productivity hacks, communication tips. We gather more and more and more information, believing that eventually one more idea will give us that answer we're looking for. And there comes a point where growth is no longer about collecting more information. It's about becoming wise enough to filter through it all. Information answers the question, what could I do? Wisdom asks, what fits who I am? That's a completely different question, because more information doesn't always create more clarity. Sometimes better filters help you create more clarity. Every piece of advice has fingerprints on it. Here's something I remind myself of often. Advice is never neutral. Every piece of advice carries fingerprints. It has someone else's upbringing on it, someone's successes, someone's failures, someone's fears, someone's values, someone's personality. That doesn't make the advice wrong. It simply means it was shaped by a life that is not yours. The more we understand where advice comes from, the better equipped we are to decide whether it belongs in our own lives. Discernment isn't asking, is this good advice? It's asking, why did this advice make sense for them, and does it fit for me? One of the patterns I've noticed over years of coaching is that people often arrive carrying a backpack full of other people's opinions. Their parents have advice, their boss has advice, their spouse has advice, their friends have advice. Social media certainly has advice. By the time they sit down with me, they're exhausted, not because they lack answers, but because they're trying to make everyone else's answers fit at the same time. So I'll ask a question that I ask my clients, and honestly, one I ask myself on the regular. Is that actually true for you? Sometimes the answer is yes, sometimes it's no, and sometimes it's, it used to be true, but it's not anymore. And I love that question because it does not dismiss other people's wisdom. It simply reminds us that discernment is the bridge between hearing advice and living wisely. Borrow principles, don't borrow lives. I think one of the biggest mistakes we make is trying to copy people instead of learning from them. We copy their routines. We copy their leadership style. We copy their communication style, their schedule, their habits, their decisions. The goal should never be imitation. It should be interpretation. Instead of asking, how do I become more like them? Ask, what principle made that work? And what would that principle look like if I lived it as me? That's where wisdom begins, not in becoming someone else, rather in translating good principles into a life that reflects your own values and your own strengths. Your life deserves an internal compass. There will always be people willing to tell you what they think you should do. Some of them love you deeply. Some have tremendous wisdom. Some have walked roads you will never walk. Listen, learn, stay curious. Don't surrender your judgment. One of the greatest signs of maturity is when you stop asking, what would everyone else choose? And you start asking, what decision allows me to stay aligned with my goals, my values, and the person I'm becoming? That's not ignoring wise counsel. It's making sure your life is guided by an internal compass instead of external noise. Here's your reflection question. Think about a decision you're facing right now. Are you trying to find the right answer, or are you discerning the answer that's most aligned with your values, your season, and the person you're becoming? Here's your power thought. You can honor someone else's wisdom without outsourcing your own. There will never be a shortage of advice. The world is full of opinions. It's full of strategies. It's full of frameworks and rules. While many of them are valuable, none of them, hear me when I say this, none of those things can replace your own discernment, because no one else has your exact experiences. No one else lives your relationships. No one else has your strengths. No one else has your responsibilities. No one else lives your purpose. You can listen well. You can learn generously. Remember, the goal isn't to collect more voices. The goal is to become wise enough to know which voices deserve influence. This week, the next time someone offers advice, or the next time you're tempted to follow advice you've heard before, pause and ask yourself one simple question. Is that actually true for me? Not because you're rejecting wisdom, because you're choosing to live wisely, and there is a difference. Thank you for joining me for another episode of She Rises Daily, Emerging You in 10. If today's conversation encouraged you, please share it with someone who's feeling overwhelmed by all of the voices telling them what they should do. Sometimes the greatest gift we can offer isn't another opinion. It's permission to think deeply, discern wisely, and trust the values that guide their own life. Until next time, remember, wisdom is not found in following every voice. It's found in learning which voices deserve a place at your table and having the courage to keep your own seat there too.